Flat Heroes is a couch multiplayer game that uses a two-button control scheme, one to jump, one to attack, which is also your shield. If two players hit the attack button near each other and the shield goes off at the same moment, they will bounce away from each other from their attack. If a quick-fingered player gets the attack off first, that player will win, destroying the other. There is a cooldown time between each attack and you have a lot of mobility with your jump button. The game feels like a combination of N++ and Super Meat Boy. This is the debut game from independent developer Parallel Circles. It features a variety of language options and options for people who are colorblind, which doubles as the ability to swap the palette of the colors the game is using. Now, the devs have said to me that they are going to be working with the community to add more colors for colorblind people, have a variety of options for people, so it's looking to be pretty good for disabled gamers who are colorblind. The game has controller support with Steam Cloud, and for the time being is local multiplayer only, with no immediate plan to implement multiplayer, unless, of course, there's kind of saying, yeah, if we can sell a lot of copies, we can maybe do online multiplayer, but for now, and at least probably past early access, it's going to be local multiplayer only. The developers intend on adding more features to the game, obviously, as it receives sales, such as a level editor and more modes, to name a few. There's two play modes, co-op and competitive. In co-op, there's a mode called Waves, that is players surviving waves of level hazards. Then there's the competitive play modes, where players kill each other. Currently, there are 4 modes available: Battle, Zones, Runner, and Catch. Flat Hero seems incredibly simplistic and repetitive upon a first glance, but it ends up being quite addictive and brilliant in its own right. For starters, the visual design is surprisingly great for being based solely around squares. The animations, from the UI to the in-game effects, help make everything pop. After you die in the game, your square reforms piece by piece. The effect is not only pleasing to the eye, but it adds a more visually satisfying way of knowing when someone is respawning, rather than using just a simple timer. The music and sound effects are often snappy and upbeat, very fitting for the game. The music itself covers a decent range in-game, from slow to suspenseful to frantic. Have a listen. Onto the gameplay. You can play with up to 3 other players, but you have the option of choosing AI. Unfortunately, there is no difficult control with the AI, but they are at least pretty good instead of being pretty dumb. The controls have a bit of an intentional flow to them, to give you this feeling of little gravity. This is so you can be a lot more mobile. The gameplay is fast and addictive. The music, the controls, the sound, the gameplay gel really nicely with all the modes. Co-op features plenty of levels to play, while in competitive mode you have really great modifiers that keep each round interesting, such as safe zones, which prevent all players in that zone from attacking each other. The zone is shaped like a peace symbol. Others, like the invisibility zone, kept it really frantic and interesting, where players would have to guess which square they were when they all turned the same color, while still trying to kill each other and or score points. One mode in particular, Zones, really piqued my interest. It's very simple in design, but it's still a ton of fun, much like the overall premise of the game. Zone functions more like a King of the Hill style mode. Players stay in circles to gain points, circles are moved, and circle modifiers pop up to also overlap the objective circles. There's a lot of positional and angular depth in this game. Now for the couch-specific aspects of the game. Through this series, we'll break this down into 3 components: price, setup process, and lasting appeal. First off, the price. Price tiers in this category are sub $10, $10 to $20, and above $20. Flat Heroes is at a discount if you buy it in early access at $11.99. As of launch, after September 15th, it will be $15. Again, this is all in early access. Either price point puts it in the Tier 2 pricing of $10 to $20, Tier 1 being sub 10, and Tier 3 being above 20. As I mentioned before, this game has a good amount of modes. 4-player co-op and competitive modes give good variety, and adding AI can fill that player void in those 1, 2, and 3-player sessions. The AI ensuring that no matter how many players you have, will make it feel like the optimal experience and fun no matter how many players you have. Onto the pick-up and play aspect, I feel this is very critical for these types of games. Is there a tutorial that is too lengthy or convoluted or unskippable and will break the mood? Is there a mandatory account sign-up or terms of service ULA you have to agree to? Are there unlockables, and do you have to play hours before you can even unlock them, thus playing the same modes or levels over and over again? Is there voodoo required in using more than one controller, or just setting up the controllers in general? Do you have to rebind each individual controller? These kinds of things can put a hold on game night when all of your friends are anxiously awaiting on you to set up the game for the first time. X input controls work well. Keyboard is supported, but is not recommended by both me and even the developers. The controller setup is easy. Being a 2-button game, you just hit the button prompt for the keyboard or controller when players are being selected. The only problem I have is that all the palettes and modes aren't unlocked automatically. Now, I assume colorblind modes, those are going to be default, like the essential ones. But for game modes, while they unlocked for me very quickly, I would like to have seen either an option or a cheat to enable everything. Just for game nights when things start getting a little bit repetitive. Especially considering there's 4 modes and they kind of unlock one by one, so if you're playing this for the first time at a game night, you might want to experiment with like the last one, like something like Rush, that unlocks. That would have been nice to include an option to unlock everything. But overall, the gameplay experience is very quick to get into, and it's pretty easy to learn. So how's the lasting appeal, and should you pick it up? Well, if you have a limited budget for single and couch multiplayer games, being that, yes, you want to have a game that you can play with your friends, but you want to have a game that's good enough to keep lasting you a little bit longer for the single player side, I'd at least give this one another look when it comes out of early access for a better value, putting it on hold for now. However, for game night, it is an excellent buy. I put it up there with Towerfall for its fast-paced addictiveness and rage that it induces. The AI option, as well as the wave mode, while not being worth it on its own, is a nice one-player option to continue playing after friends have left, but it simply can't beat the multiplayer couch competitive modes. Those will have the most lasting appeal, especially when more customizable options become available. I can see myself breaking this game out during nights with friends, but not often for single-player sessions. Anyway guys, thank you for checking out my video of Flat Heroes. It's currently available on Steam in early access for $12 currently, but it'll be $15 soon. Code was supplied by the developer free of charge. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I'm out.